I hope there's two things you remember after the sermon today, at least for a few minutes on the way home. Just two things. The first is page number 864. Page 864 in the Book of Common Prayer. And the second thing is this. I hope you remember that when you see or know or experience people who are in love and love each other, you'll see something of the heart of God. Those are about the only two things we need to talk about for a few moments. Because today is it's a special day. It's an unusual day. We only have this day once a year, and it's the only one of its kind in the whole church here. It's where we talk about a particular doctrine. We're not much of a doctrinal church when it comes to preaching. Like if you went to our website or to anything in the Book of Common Prayer, it doesn't say believe, here's our 18 things we believe. But this is the one thing we wanted to not miss. And this is, at the heart of God, there is both unity, oneness, and at the same time there are persons in relationship, which has always befuddled everyone. How can God be one and God be three? Let's just say that. We've always been befuddled by how to talk about that. So, mostly I just wanted to say this, that when you have been in a relationship, or you would like to be in a relationship, or you've seen other people in relationship, where they are two individuals, and they're strong and healthy in their identity and their personhood, and they could stand by themselves without any help from the other person. But they choose and they act in spontaneous love towards each other. They don't have to, but they do. When they're individuals whose very nature is to love, and they pour out themselves for the other person, so that it's as if they are operating in like a field or a milieu or an atmosphere of love, then you'll see something of what Christians said the heart of God is like. If you wanted to know what do Christians understand the very center of reality to be like, the real truth of the whole ball of wax, they said, remember that where there is love and relationship, and the two are almost one in a whole field surrounded by love, they said, well, that is what the ultimate reality is like. That's what God is like. Two people surrounded by a field of love. They're individuals, but they know each other so well, and they consider each other so well, and they're so conscious of each other that though they're separate individuals, they act like a team or a unit or a family. They say, well, that's what God is really like. So, almost all of our prayers, end with the name of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? Almost all of our prayers end with something like that. So whenever you end your prayer and you say that formula, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, remember you are saying that the ultimate reality of the universe is love. Now, the second part of the sermon, which has to do with page 864. Don't turn there now. I see you reaching for your book. On that page, you'll find two official documents of the church. One is a certain article out of a council the church held in 451 in a place called Chalcedon. And in there, they told you exactly what is the right way to talk about God in terms of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And the second item there is a creed called the Athanasian Creed, or the Creed of St. Athanasius. It's about half a page long, and it also tells you exactly how to think about God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then if you read those two things, you would probably know that what I just said about God as people in love would not fly very well. It really wouldn't work. Every time you try to make an analogy about the Trinity, about God, and there's lots of analogies out there, like tons of them. And I'm not going to confuse you with more analogies. Almost every time you try and make another metaphor out of it, you always end up in some kind of a heresy. And they said, no, you can't think about it like that. It's not right. So, remember when you say the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, that you're saying that God is like the best relationship you could hope for or think about or imagine. Persons in love. And then you could remember page 864 and how that really isn't right. If you want to be technically right, turn to page 864. If you want to be able to speak about God in a way that speaks to your heart, which is relatively true, but not perfectly true, remember, people in love. Every metaphor falls short, but the metaphors speak to our heart and speak to our lives. God is love. The Father, the Son, surrounded by the energy of the Holy Spirit in love. So that's what God is like. God is love, and page 864. I offer this to you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.